Welcome to the fourth video in the installment series of how to trade better. So today we are going to be talking about level 2. And I've had several people over the past week ask me like, what is level 2? I'm shocked that they don't use it, especially trading OTC, penny stocks, and so forth. I mean, you can use it in all stocks in theory, but because OTC is more retail driven, it's more important to see where the buy and sells are, what the spread is, what the ask is, what types of market makers are dilutive. So in this video, we're going to cover a lot of that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a screenshot that I've taken over the past couple of weeks, and we're going to discuss it. So I'm going to talk about the spread, everything that's going on in that stock at that time frame. Now, of course, volume always precedes price, but being that we're sitting around 2 billion, as far as a daily average, it's important to know, what's happening between the stocks you're in. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so it is time to level up. So first we're going to pull in these, which is the ticker tape. So, if you sit in front of your desk and you're sitting in front of your computer and you have Thinkorswim, you have E-Trade, whatever it may be, you can look at this buys and sells for the day. Now, the reason I like to look at the ticker tape, I mainly will look at the end of the day to see if there's any cross trades or any dilution. They will usually show up after hours, maybe 2 to 3 up to 15 minutes as, a solid number, 1 million, 2 million, and it could be conversions, it could be anything that's happening. Sometimes you can catch it throughout the day, but you also want to see, how much selling pressure is happening versus what's the buys that are coming through. So people are buying 1.8 million shares, and so forth. So this is definitely going to drive the price up 1.3 million shares, and you can see a lot of selling down here. So between level 2, you definitely want to look at your ticker tape. Like I said, I definitely will check it at the end of the day if I do see any cross trades or T trades and so forth. But let's pull in the first level 2. So the first one up, we have this guy here. So this is a beautiful level 2. So you can see it has good support, 012, 0122, sitting at about 1 million shares. It's even got, small at 0116. So if I was trading this and there wasn't a lot of volume, more than likely, if this bid isn't getting crashed, I would sit at maybe 0123. So you can sit in front of the bid and accumulate shares, or if news happens or if it's a high volume stock, it's time to slap, because 012 all the way up to 035 could go in an instant. And then what will normally happen is if this starts getting pushed, this bid is going to move up into this range into 014, and then it's going to keep pushing. So as you can see, CDL should get cleared. Now, depending on how much OTCX is actually holding, because this is usually false, it might get stuck there depending on volume. But, this is definitely a good looking level 2. So there's not too much on the ask. Bid side is nice support. So that's definitely one that I like. All right, second up. Okay, so first glance, we have, this is definitely a low float. You can see 04. 100,000 shares, and then it probably trades between 07 and 08 in this range. So these top two here, as you can see, CDL, GT, ESM, they're going to be retail. CFGN is a royal pain in my what. But normally if he's on bid, he's trying to collect shares, and then you can see OTCX is hanging back. Actually, I think this was WSFT, which recently just ran over 30 cents. But low floats like this, they can go at any point. So if they get news, they get volume, this is just going to get cleared, and then if this gets cleared, this is your next line right here, and then it's just going to just keep ripping. So I like to trade low floats, but if there's not a lot of volume in it, I will sit maybe around 04, 05 just to catch anything that might fall. So a lot of traders, sometimes if they want to get out, they'll just hit that market sell button and it's gonzo, So you want to sit low enough to where you can catch stuff like that. Okay, so pulling up this one, this is another gorgeous level 2. So as you can see, 0168, 0169, and then up through here. So, nice bids are stacked. And then, as far as looking on the ask, there isn't much here. So this is definitely another gorgeous share structure. You can tell just by looking at the different spread between the ticks. So if this thing gets pressure, it could go. and then, O2CX sitting here at O2, STXG way back. So this thing could hit O2 in a flash, if it got news and so forth. So if I was trading this, I'd probably be sitting 68 in this range, and then I might accumulate here and just take some of these 71s. And it really depends on how much I was trying to accumulate, when news was coming and so forth. Because remember, I'm a catalyst trader, so if I'm accumulating, same thing. 017, I'll probably sit down here at 0165 on a Tuesday, and then just collect. All right, let's bring in the next one. So why did I circle this? I don't know. Probably because it's just really thin. So as you can see here, hard support at 38, 39, and more support 43, 44, and there is nothing on ask up through, basically 49. So, same thing. It's another gorgeous share structure. I think I know which one this is. I think this is actually RGQ. But you can see OTCX sitting back here at 47, 49. So if this thing gets volume, it's all getting cleared, and all these bids are going to push up into this range. So, don't see any dilutive M&Ms on here. OTCX has been hopping on a lot recently. INTL sometimes can sell for insiders, but they're all hanging back. So, you have retail up here at the top. So, yeah, another gorgeous share structure, one that could be easy to trade with volume. All right, so let's pull up this one. Okay, so what happens often is, as you can see here, there's not much in the way of support, 100,000 shares, and then you have 0198. So what happens is, this person will be support, then someone will sit right at the top of that, and then they'll be the filler. So if they're trying to accumulate shares, or if they're just trying to close the gap in between the spread, they'll put 10 to 15,000 share bids just to kind of close the gap to keep the stock from dumping. But as you can see here, this is another thinly traded stock, but AEXG is cutting off OTCX. So as you can see, 40, 44, 48, then someone drove the price down to 028, probably if it's a red day, because a lot of market makers, especially on red days, if the stock has had multiple green days, you have some algorithms that will try and short the stock. And the thing about shorting OTC, the only way you can do it is has to be over 01, and like offshore, like crazy setups as far as brokerage can do it. It's not done a lot in the US. So if somebody's like, oh, I'm shorting your stock, they're probably full of it, so don't listen to them. But AEXG is one market maker I don't see too often, but because they are cutting off OTCX, they could be diluting. So because you see that 10,000 share stack, they're probably just forcing down. And then, if you hit that a few times and it doesn't move, that could be dilution or conversion. But, and then also if a trader wants to get out instead of just dumping, they'll cut off the ask as well. But, if you clear this, next line is going to be 024. So yeah, I would absolutely be slapping this, to see what I can get if it's a stock I'm accumulating. All right, next up we have, okay, so first glance, we see Paul at the top. So Paul is a dilutive market maker. And even though it says 50,000, it's always hidden. He could be holding 2 million. And you could slap this, buy, and it doesn't even move. So it's definitely one thing you want to keep an eye on. Paul, CFGN, ASCM, OTCX are real just pain in the butts. But you can see good support here at 65, and then you have a filler here at 66 that's accumulating over bid. And then, with Paul here, if he's diluting, so the thing with Paul is he can dilute anywhere from the ask. So he can be sitting here at 045, and he could still be forcing through any of the market makers into the bids. But more than likely, if he's sitting here, this is probably for conversions. So he'll probably sit here and, let's say they can convert 10% of dilution per a day, per a month, whatever it may be. So he'll sit here until he gets his fill, and then he'll back off, and then he'll sit back here, maybe in the middle or at the back. But yeah, if this is stock I'm accumulating, if they have news coming, I definitely want to keep an eye on Paul because he is dilutive MM. But I'll sit anywhere from 65, 66, 67, 68, and just collect. All right, so let's cover the next one. Okay, so first glance, wow, we have the three nightmares right here. So, as you can see, there's not too much in the way of support. You have some, over 03. So if I was trading this stock, I would probably sit anywhere from let's see, 0.3 up through maybe 0.35, and I would keep an eye on this. But as you can see here, OTCX, he's the next line. CFGN and ASCM are just nightmares. So because CFGN is sitting here with 10, ASCM is sitting here with 10, he could be blocking for CFGM, or he could be diluting through him, and then they're just collecting. But, with that large spread in between there, more than likely they're going to try and walk this down or force this down, and they can do that. They'll hop over each one of another. But, if you clear these guys, this thing could rocket on news. So keep an eye on those guys. Okay, so here we have, so this is one that I like to say, if you ever hear the term level 2 needs to flip. Now, what level 2 needs to flip means is there are no bids. There is no support on this side. I mean, if this guy decided he wanted to market sell, that 85 is getting cleared. It might see 60 because it's a thinly traded stock. You also have Paul hanging back here, so Paul could be diluting, into here. So if I was trading this stock, just based off, few 80s, 89s, I'd probably sit 72 through 77 just to be safe. And the way I like to do it is I'll stack bids. So now let's say 0077, let's say I wanted to accumulate 1 million shares, right? And I wanted to do it under 0075. So I would probably sit around 007, and then I maybe 82 to start accumulating, just to see what kind of action is happening. But if this stock doesn't have a lot of volume, what's going to happen is it's going to get walked down. So if there's nobody buying this, then people are going to start cutting off the ask, and they'll say, they're going to put stuff at 87, 86, and then you might even see 85 dump again, and then you're like, oh no, it's coming down. So yeah, I would definitely be sitting 78, 79, especially with Paul here. If Paul hopped to the top, this thing is going to just, boop, it's going to pop right down. All right, so let's bring the next one up. Okay, so this is, another low dubs. As you can see, it has a 1 million share bid here at 21. It's got another one down here at 19 and 23. So there's no 22 here, but you can see it's pretty stacked from 23 through 26. So what can happen is that if one of these two get impatient, they will dump into this 21. So this 21 could be just waiting to fill, and the reason there's no 22s is there's no placeholder. So, if I was trading this stock and I was trying to accumulate, I might sit in front of this 22 or 21 and just check 22, and I would put maybe 250,000 and see if it gets dumped. And then if not, and if it was something I really needed, I'm like, have to get shares, stock's gonna have news next week, I might take 500 off of this and then just continue bidding for a couple of days. But if the stock has news, all this is getting cleared. So that's the thing you want to do. So I mean, a lot of what we're talking about is going to be accumulating for a catalyst. But if any of these stocks have news, level 2 is just completely gone. It's just going to rip. So this is more just ideas on how to accumulate, what to look for, what kind of market makers are royal pains. But yeah, so let's go to the next one. All right, so this one is actually the last one for the day. So, just looking at it, so as you can see here, the ask is stacked. So 0645, there is 1.3 million shares on that, and depending on the volume for that stock for the day, more than likely that might not get cleared. So as you can see, the next line of defense is going to be 644, and then there's not much in the way of bids. So, seeing that can actually cause a flush. So if this person really wants out, they might basically dump into 635 and then walk it down. So I would sit anywhere from 625 to 630 in this range, and then see if I can collect any for the day. But more than likely he's going to walk it down. This could be a loading wall, but I doubt it. There's not a lot of volume in OTC nowadays to have quote unquote loading. So it could just be somebody that's protecting, whether it's the 50 or 200 MA. But yeah, you slap it if they're collecting here much lower. So, when if you ever hear it says level 2 needs to flip, so basically it needs to have a lot of bids stacked through here, then this will get slapped. But because there's no support down here, more than likely it's not. So that's the last one for today. So if you have any questions, like I said, put them in the comment section. As we talk about market makers, CFGN, Puma, OTCX, ASCM, those are all, and then Paul are real nightmares. So, Another thing, if you ever see OTCX sitting at the top with 10,000 shares and you're just hitting it, it's not moving, more than likely that is conversions, whether it could be, common stock being sold by the company. It could be, any sort of unrestricted that, came off of restricted, and basically OTCX is selling, so that can be another iceberg, as we call it. So it will not move unless it gets that daily fill. But if you slap him hard enough and he moves back, it could just be an algo short. So keep an eye on that. But yeah, if you ever see ASCM on the bid and the ask together, don't dump into the bid, because more than likely what will happen, if they're trying to collect shares, they will go ahead and take their own ask and so forth. But so that's all I wanted to share with you guys today. Like I said, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and if there's anything you're struggling with, definitely put it in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.